Hello, I'm going to share with you some surprising and exciting features of the Kepler 8 and the Sirius 2 astrology software. These are things you probably do not know. Even if you own the software, you may not be aware of some of these things, or you may have noticed it, you saw the menu item or heard about it, and didn't realize the full potential of this, some of the exciting things you can do. So I'm going to go through this quickly just to mention a few of the exciting innovations, things you can do, and even how we think about what astrology software is and what it can do for us. Okay, so I'm talking about Kepler and Sirius. Why am I talking about those two programs? Because Sirius is a bigger, better, more expensive version of Kepler. I'm making this video at the end of October, year 2015, and currently the current version of Kepler is version 8, and the current version of Sirius is 2. These are the prices in American dollars. Sirius looks very expensive at $550, but it's not expensive when you consider what it does. It's like a package deal. There are many options of Kepler. There are options for things that are not commonly used, such as a gold forecast, a weather forecast, different kinds of reports that people wouldn't usually have in a software program. So a lot of these very specialized, wonderful innovations are only in the Sirius software, but Kepler, for much less money, for $300, covers a lot of what you would want to do. So some of the things I'm going to talk about here are only in Sirius, and some of them are in both programs. There's also a much smaller program, Pegasus, which is a smaller version of the Kepler and Sirius. But it's very basic. So I'm focusing on really exciting innovations and things you can do that you may not have been aware of. Okay, so I just want to make sure you know what software I'm referring to. Okay, here's surprise number 1. Daylight saving time. I talk about this in other videos. I have 2 videos that explain this in great detail. The surprise is we don't know, nobody on planet Earth knows for sure if daylight saving time was observed in certain places at certain times. We don't know. The historical information is not clear. Also, even for right now, contemporary situations, it changes all the time. Some countries like Chile, Turkey recently, they'll decide to end DST with almost no notice. 2 or 3 days before. They say, oh, you know what? We're not going to change. We're not going to go off DST today. We're going to extend it 2 weeks more. Or we're not going to extend it in certain cities or certain provinces. The rules are so complicated and intricate. It takes a tremendous amount of time and energy to maintain this for all time. There are different projects that are ongoing to do this. Anyway, I have 2 videos that explain it in detail. And so the big surprise is a lot of astrologers assume their software is super accurate, knows the daylight saving time at any time in history for any place. It's not true. We've done the most work to make sure that the tables are accurate, and they are now available in another line of software. As of just last week, the Matrix software, that means the WinStar programs and the other Matrix programs like the Horizons program, which is an astro mapping program, the Daywatch program, which is a beautiful calendar program. These, as of last week, we released version 6 of the Matrix software. They now have these super accurate time zone and daylight saving time tables. Extremely important. So, honestly, seriously, just very, very frankly, you should have software that's going to give you the most accurate daylight saving time and time zone information, so that you have the best chance of that chart being accurate. And I'll show you how to find these videos on YouTube later. I'm going to talk more about these videos. This is another really important thing, and I'll show you how you find those. So that's the first surprise. Surprise, surprise, your astrology teacher, your colleagues, you may not realize yourself how complicated this is and how much work is needed and how much ongoing work is done by our company to make sure these tables are accurate. And this is one reason why 2 years ago we merged the 2 companies, Matrix Software and Cosmic Pattern Software, so we have more resources, because you really need people just to be working on the daylight saving time issue and some other issues. And the bigger the company, the more people we can have working on different aspects of this huge challenge of creating marvelous, accurate astrology software that covers everything people want. Okay, so that's the first surprise, daylight saving time tables. Next surprise is innovations. Innovations that a lot of people haven't thought about very much. Those who have are in love with some of these things, such as the AstroSignature forecast. Have you given this much thought? Are you aware of it? It could be a big surprise. Let's talk about forecasting and why the AstroSignature forecast is so exciting. Okay, here's the Sirius 2.0 software. I have a famous person up here, Ben Affleck. And if we're going to forecast for Ben Affleck, what do? Well, the old-fashioned way of doing it was to have a text listing. So here's a text listing. This is one where I've turned on the options to list the planet position. So, for example, on November 4th at 8:17 p.m., transiting Mercury is at 4 Scorpio 46. It's conjunct Ben Affleck's moon, which is also 4 Scorpio 46. That's 8:17 p.m. If I go to the top, I selected Los Angeles, California, which is an 8-hour west time zone, and DST had ended on November 1st, so that happens to be standard time. Okay, so that's a listing. That was one way to get the information. What a lot of astrologers have moved on to using is a timeline format, because it's visual and you can just clearly see when things begin and end. You can more clearly see what's going on at the same time. In the Sirius software, you always have that right click. You can right click and you can say, oh, just give me Jupiter through Pluto, so I can just see the outer planets. Click OK. Now I can see the big transits. I can right click, I can add progressions, and that'll appear in a separate box. Anyway, I have entire videos that explain this. I'm leading up to the point of why the AstroSignature forecast is exciting. So we have these different tools. We also have interpretations. Is another thing that we like to do, and we often like to give to clients or read ourselves. And so this is the Cosmo Forecast Report that comes with the Kepler and the Sirius programs. What is the AstroSignature forecast? How is it different from these options? Oh, another option, by the way, is the graphic ephemeris. Here's the graphic ephemeris, which shows how the planets move, and this is a 360 degree, and some people use a 45 degree. Anyway, I have entire videos about this. These are some of the forecasting tools. These are some that I thought of. Oh, also another one is the interactive wheels, and I have entire videos on that where you can go to the interactive, say, bi-wheel or tri-wheel with progressions, and you can move things forward and backward. Well, let me just show you the idea real quickly. So here's a bi-wheel of NATO and transits, and I could say go a month forward, and now the transiting, this has gone forward a month, or I could say go to when certain aspect occurs, etc. Okay, so there are these different tools. What does the AstroSignature forecast do that these others don't? Let me show you. Let's go to forecast and do an AstroSignature forecast. I have a lot of different kinds. And let's do business success. Well, let's just do that. Let's just do business success. No, let me do two, so you get the idea of how to do two. Let's do business success, and let's do romance and sexuality. Two very different things. And we'll do it for a month, starting today. I happen to be doing this on October 31st, 2015. So we'll run it for a month, and I'll click on Begin Analysis. Now, what is wonderful about the AstroSignature forecast is it pulls together everything that you think is related to a topic and then graphs it. And this is fantastic because you can create your own formula and have a forecast. So the red is romance and sexuality. So it's saying around September 11, 10, 11, 12, romance and sexuality is high for Ben Affleck. Now, the exact numbers are not important. What's important is whether it's going up or down. So for this month, this is relatively high. And then we have a real high peak over here. And this time period is high. So what's going on around the 10th, 11th, and 12th, let me drag this into the part of my screen I'm capturing for the video, I can scroll down to that area and I can see that this is set up to use midpoints. And if you don't like to use midpoints, you can turn that off. But the way that this is set up right now, oh, that's business success. See, this is the business success, and down here is the romance. So let me go down to 9, 10, 11. Is that what I said? No, 10, 11, 12. And look at all these transits related to romance and sexuality. So, for example, transiting Venus is sextile natal Neptune. Well, that's romantic, half a degree orb. Transiting Neptune is trine natal Venus. He's got Venus, Neptune both ways. Now, these kind of things, of noticing all these things that could be related, if you use midpoints, the transiting Venus-Mars midpoint is conjunct natal Pluto. You could create your own formula. If you don't like midpoints, you could remove those. So everything that you think might be related, and you can include progressions. That progressed Venus is maybe trine natal Neptune. That would be a slower moving thing that would last a longer time. So everything that you think is related is graphed right there. I use this all the time. If a client asks me, how is my business success? Instead of running a listing of transits and progressions, instead of using the interactive bio, instead of using the graphic ephemeris, all those tools are wonderful. I do use all those for different specialized situations. But my primary tool is that I set up these formulas to the way I like them, and then I just run it and I say, oh, well, your romance and sexuality could be high on September 11th. Then I look at this listing, I can see what it is. I've got all the information pulled together for exactly what I want to visually demonstrate. So this is one of the innovations, is visual representations that organize the information for us. Now, oh, this went off my captured screen. Sorry. Let me drag this. I'm capturing just part of my screen for this video. Okay, now you can see the whole graph. Okay, and then the blue, it tells me, is the business success, and that peaks here on November 14. I've got this in what do you might say, like European style. I've got day, month. So if you're an American, you might get confused there. So 11, about September 14, September 12, 13, 14, 15. The business success is high. And I can scroll up and we could see what's going on in September 14 to make business success high. This is just fantastic. Is it fantastic for every single astrologer out there? No. We all work differently. But what I'm trying to get across here is new ways of thinking, to stretch yourself out of the old ways you did things and consider some new possibilities, because the information age is presenting us with new ways of thinking, new ways of organizing information, new ways of visualizing things in ways that were never possible before. And we're working round the clock, our team of programmers, to create these kind of tools that people have been asking for to give us this kind of information. So it's an innovation. Not every innovation is the one for you, but I think we need to open our minds to new possibilities, not just do the old transit text listing that we've learned years ago. If you're, middle-aged or older astrologer, the new astrologers are falling in love with this stuff, because why would you go through all that other stuff when I can pull together the information I think is relevant, organize it, and present it to myself, and give instant readings to your clients? So just showing you possibilities, new doors that are opening for what we can do. Another thing that's amazing, innovations, is to have a website and an automated online chart service. If you own Kepler or Sirius and at least one report option, we create an online chart service for you, and we run it for you, we charge the card for you, we do everything for you. All you have to do is put a link to it, and then you receive a payment every time somebody orders something. So I have tutorial videos that explain all the details of this, but what I'm doing in this video is to overview this way of thinking in in a 21st century way with innovations, new concepts, new ways of doing things, and to consider these. I'll show you an example of this. Here's a website called donnaphilosophica.com. So we go to this website. Oh, let me shrink this. Sorry, I'm going off my captured area again. Let me resize this a little bit so you can see everything I'm doing here. What? That probably there. I'm in. Make my browser into the capture. Sorry about that. Okay, so here I'm in the browser, and you can see I'm at this website, donnaphilosophica.com. Looks like a very nice website. She does consultations, hosts parties, she gives classes, a store, podcasts, so all kinds of cool things. Very nice website. Pretty pictures, very intriguing. Makes me want to look at it. Fun to be here, inspiring. And then I can go here and I could say, let's see, consultations. What kind of consultations do you have? Types of consultations, charts and reports. I go to charts and reports, and I get a screen that comes up, and it says, while live reading with an astrologer can give you the most insights into your life circumstances, computerized astrology reports by cosmic pattern softwares can be an economical alternative. Okay, so that's the way she phrased it. She happens to tell you that she's using cosmic pattern software. You can do it however you want to. Maybe you don't think of it that way. But this is just her way of presenting it. And then she tells you a little bit about the reports, and then I can order a report. Okay, this is very cool. Let's see, suppose I want to do a romantic compatibility. Let me view a sample. Okay, very nice. I see the sample. I can read it. I can, I can go to the bottom of this thing and go return to chart service. And then I can order the report. So I'll click on buy now. And it's asking me for the date and time, and then when I'm done, it tells me up here it's what the price is. Depends on whether you have birth time or not. And I can order it and process it. Very nice. It's captured in a nice little window. And if I'm done, I can cancel out of this. I can go back and be back to her website and close the whole thing out. Very nice thing. She must have done a lot of programming to offer you this chart service online that charges your card and does everything for you. No, actually she didn't do a lot of programming. That's the service that we provide. She put it in what's called a frame so that service appears within her website. So the point is this. Very, very simple. If you're not used to thinking about things like websites and stuff, and that seemed a little bit complicated, it's very simple. You can have a website and you can offer automated online chart service on your website, and we create it for you, we organize it for you, and I have videos that explain that in detail. And maybe you don't like this service, maybe you don't like the limitations of it, maybe you don't like the prices. Nothing is perfect, then don't use it. But what I'm introducing you to is possibilities, open doorways. Did you ever think that with your astrology software you could have an online chart service on your website and give a free chart wheel? And you could be making money for it doing basically nothing but having a link. It sounds like magic. It's true. We do this for you. It's fantastic. And even if nobody orders anything ever from it, people love free. You've got a free chart wheel. You've got sophisticated services. It's just wonderful. Okay, so we're opening our minds that astrology software is not just, oh, I want this calculation, does your program do it? That's important. That's where we started. But now we're moving forward to not only does the program provide that calculation, but how is that information presented to you? How easy is it to relate to? How quickly can you use that information? How well is it organized? What services can I provide? So we've moved way beyond just input, output, put in data, get some simple result, to visual representations, creative thinking, ways of putting things on your website. Here's another example, the live mini reading. Let's look at it. I'll show it to you in the Kepler program. The Kepler program is the same as the Sirius program, just has fewer features, but it's more features than you'll find in almost any other program anyway. So this is exciting. Let me show you this. If you go to Interpretation, Natal, I've got the actor up here, Johnny Depp. I seem to be doing contemporary male actors today for no particular reason. Let's do, go here, and we'll select the live mini reading. Let's do the short version. That'll be fine. I'll click OK. Now I'm going to have to move my microphone close to the speakers so you can hear this. Let's start this up. We will now interpret your astrological birth chart. Okay, this is an introduction. I'm not going to we're not going to listen to this part of it so much. Let's wait till this introduction's off, and then I'll make it louder so you can hear it when it really starts up. You can do it with or without introduction. So this this live mini reading, what it does is, you can see what it's going to do. It's going to have music in the background and play, and basically we call it a live mini reading. Okay. And encourage you to master your life rather than be the end of the introduction. I'm going to move closer to the microphone so you can hear this. You enjoy lively music and dance. You have a good sense of rhythm, and probably you have an infectious laugh. You enjoy jokes and tricks. It is likely that you will fall in and out of love several times before settling down with one person, so it may be best if you do not marry too early in life. Although you are romantic, you do not like to feel smothered or too restricted by your partner. Let's listen to the beginning of the next one. You have an aptitude for psychology and history, and with training you can become very good in understanding the... Okay, so that's the live mini reading. Let me turn the volume down. Okay, so you get the idea. What if you have a friend visit you? I'm going to stop this thing. If I click, tells me I can click on the image to stop it. I'm just going to stop this. You got the idea. It'll go on for, several more minutes. That's the live mini reading. What would you do with it? Suppose a friend is visiting you. You're at home, somebody's visiting, or, some relatives are over, or next door neighbor's over, whatever, and they say, oh, what do you do? Oh, I'm an astrologer, or I'm a student of astrology, or I like astrology. Oh, really, really? What is that like? One thing you could do is you could enter their birth data and run the live mini reading for them. It will blow their minds. It's just unbelievable. They will sit there watching. It's like a movie. You get engrossed in it. It's based on very sophisticated analysis of the chart. It's got the background music, the imagery, the words. A totally engaging experience. Fantastic. Now they're excited. Now they're interested. This is what the modern world is about. Visuals, experiences, not just words. So there are many ways you can use it. You can just try to remember that you have all of these resources and when you can use these resources and when it would be appropriate. Some people use them in parties. They entertain people. They set something up with a large monitor, some nice speakers. It can be a lot of fun, but it can just be fun to just show people some of the things that you have access to, that you work with. And this is one of the ways that you succeed in life, is by taking advantage of and utilizing the resources and the gifts, you might say, that other people have made available for you. So we use the computers that other people manufactured and figured out how to create, and we use the software, etc. You become part of this large information network and participate in and utilize what everybody's contributing to it. So these are different things that are available. I'm not saying that any one of these or all of these are the perfect thing for you, but my point in this video is to open our minds to new ways of thinking, new possibilities. That software does not have to be just, oh, I click on this and I got this result the way that I'm used to looking at it and what I want. Creative, innovative potential to move in new directions. And this is built on top of a program that is incredibly extensive and thorough and just giving you the information you want. In this video, I'm just concentrating on this one aspect of the software, of what can be done. Here's another example of an innovation. Research that is revolutionizing astrology. Astrology, for the most part, is, well, we don't know what it is. Some people think it's more like divination, or it's a sensitive perception of things that lies outside of science. But some people feel that we should be able to research it and validate what works. So what we've done in the Sirius software is we've pushed to whole new levels of research, not just dry academic research with statistical significance and all that stuff that most people find boring, but all of the ways of being able to get at information. So, for example, let me close out of this. Just one small example of many. Suppose I have videos about this. When we go into the data entry screen, and we have Ben Affleck up here. Here's the link. This is all included with Sirius. This part of it's not in Kepler. But here's the link to the AstroDatabank. I click on it. It confirms that I want to go to the link, and it opens up the page in the online AstroDatabank for Ben Affleck with all the information about him. And I can, it's got a link to the Wikipedia biography. I can read about the source of his birth information, usually discussed in here as well. Source notes, birth certificate in hand from LMR, which means Lois Rodden has the birth certificate in hand, so we know that this information is from the birth certificate, and we have it. And we can link to Wikipedia, and then from Wikipedia we could go on from there. So it's just fantastic that you're in. I'll go back to Sirius. You're in the Sirius software, and you don't have to go browsing through the internet. You can just click, get that information. This is what I mean by research: having access to information to utilize. And the research features are unbelievable. You can search for any combination of things, almost any combination you can imagine, in a database of over 85,000 charts in the Sirius software, over 20,000 charts of AA accuracy. So what we've done, another innovation, something new, something people have thought about, is that we can test our ideas. If you think that somebody is artistic because they have Venus in the 5th house, and Venus is aspected to Neptune or something, you can go through the database, find everybody who's got Venus in the 5th house, try Neptune, all the famous people, and see if they are similar to the person's chart you're looking at. You can actually validate your ideas instead of just wondering, oh gee, this must be it. Does anybody else have that? Are they similar? You can go into the research and do it. I have entire videos on that. I'm not in this short video just to introduce you to this way of thinking. Obviously, I'm not going to go through every detail, but all of these things are available. Also, fifth point here, let's see, is that my 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth thing on my screen here, flexibility, customizability, the interactivity. I have videos on the biwheels and triwheels, how you interact with them. And another thing is the degree meanings interpretations, the fixed star interpretations, the asteroid interpretations. These are like reference books. So if you want to know what fixed stars are conjunct planets in your chart, you can call it up and you can get that information. So I can go to listing fixed stars, I can select the detailed interpretation, click OK, and now I have a reference material to tell me what planets are conjunct fixed stars. Let's scroll down this. So the moon is conjunct a fixed star called Cygnus, I guess is the way you pronounce it. And here's the interpretation. The mythology. Look how long this interpretation is. Paragraph after paragraph after paragraph. And here's what Robson says. Robson's one of the great sources for information on fixed stars. So we've quoted from his book. Here are the people that have planets have what planet am I looking at here? I'm looking at Moon, who have Moon conjunct Cygnus. Not only does Ben Affleck have it, but also Alfred Hitchcock, etc. So just reference material to study, to learn, to organize. It's just wonderful. So here's another innovative thought. Text material like this is not just for clients who want interpretations. They can be for you, the student of astrology or professional astrologer as well, who wants to get information about something in a chart. If Venus is conjunct this fixed star, who else has that in their charts? What does it mean? What is the mythology of it? What did people like Robson, who wrote books on this, what did they say about it? You have that information. So a fifth way of thinking about astrology software is not only does the software do what I want, and can I click on a button to get what I want, but can I explore? Can I replace some of my books and reference materials with something that will dive right in? The degree meanings. We've covered some of the key areas. You don't have to go to 5 or 6 different books or leaf through a book to see what the Sabian symbol is and what other degree meanings interpretations are from other people, or fixed stars or asteroid interpretations. It's just unbelievable. So it gives you the freedom to explore, invent, discover, create. You can create your own interpretive reports. You can let us know. We work with you. Why be limited by just the astrological methods that you currently use? You can join the family of Kepler and Sirius users and developers and work together to innovate, to explore, to develop, and to make sure we have the basic information you want as well. Okay, so another thing I want to mention. When you're comparing programs, how do you compare two programs that are very different? Say WinStar and Kepler. Because you'll hear astrologers say, oh, what program do you use? Oh, I use WinStar. It's the best program. Oh, no, I use Kepler. It's the best program. And then sometimes people will give arguments for why WinStar is better than Kepler, or Kepler is better than WinStar, or some other program from somebody else. Well, let me say a few things about this. One is anybody can make a comparison list to make any program look better than another one. I put that in this yellow to stand out because I see this all the time where these programs like WinStar and Kepler have thousands and thousands and thousands of features. It's like a house that has 100 rooms, different kind of rooms, like a castle. And you can always say, well, this has a balcony on the 3rd floor overlooking a little lake, and that castle doesn't. So I've seen some pretty ridiculous comparisons. Comparisons that remind me of somebody saying that a bicycle is better than a car. So how do you trust what people are telling you when they're comparing programs that have endless numbers of features? Well, one thing is consider what biases the person has in terms of their investment of time, energy, and money into a program, and what astrological methods they use. And obviously, I have some pretty strong biases here. I'm one of the developers of the Kepler and Sirius software. I'm also one of the managers working with the programmers of WinStar and the other matrix programs. So you know, we all have our experience in what we do. For some astrologers, they've just learned a program and they don't want people using other programs because they've learned one. They have some phobia about software, and they finally figured out one program. They don't want to have to have their students using something else that they don't understand and might have to learn about. So many things can come up. I want to share with you a dramatic experience I had once. This is a true story of something that happened, and this was an experience I had that made me a little less quiet. My wife, who runs the business, and myself, we tend to not like to brag or say much. We're just not that way. But here's something that got me to want to speak up about these issues. We go to trade shows. We have a booth at major conferences. If you go to major astrology conferences, you probably have seen us there. So we were at the trade show, and someone was sitting down at one of the computers we have on the table, running our software, which is pretty common. And I noticed that she was sitting there typing away and looked engrossed, great. and I saw a tear roll down her eye. And I thought, oh my God, what's going on with this lady? I mean, maybe she had a death in her family or something's going on. So my wife went over and said, are you okay? Are you doing all right? And she said, I thought her, she was going to say something like, oh, this happened in my family, blah, blah, whatever, something, is what I'm expecting, because she looked like, very nice person, she didn't look weird or anything. She looked like an intelligent, nice person, who had something going on. And what she said stunned me. She said that she had saved up for years to buy astrology software. Her astrology teacher told her to buy a certain program. Several other astrologers and people who claimed to have expertise told her to buy the same program. It looked very obvious to her. She went and she bought the program, and she was told there was no refund, and she said, fine, she bought the program. She said, I bought this program, I'm happy with it. And then she said, well, I'm just curious. And she went over to our booth, didn't say much, just said something like, is it okay if I sit and play with the program? Sure, go ahead. And just playing with the program by herself, with nobody showing her anything, she found the features that she had been dreaming of, that she asked the other people, does any software do this? They told her, no software does that. Get this brand X program. She got it and realized that all that money that she had saved for years, because she's not wealthy, scraping up any amount of money above paying the bills is difficult for a lot of us, and she was just told there was no refund, and it was heartbreaking. And that's when I decided I need to speak up, because there's too much nonsense going on out there about what's going on with software. So that's one reason for this video. So what do you want to do? What might you want to do in the future? Think about it and look at all the software and see what the possibilities are. And the same thing has happened against our company as well as for our company. I see people say things like, our software, people are madly in love with it. They're wonderful experiences with it. So they may not have looked at other software and really be able to give a fair comparison. Anyway, just wanted to mention that. It's a big issue, big problem. Now, another thing I want to say about innovations is the videos. These tutorial videos have redefined what an astrology software company provides. These aren't just little videos that tell you one or two things and another little help thing. It's an entire world of information. It's the richest source of astrological information available as far as I know, and it's completely, at least the richest source of astrological information that's completely free. And it takes you into a world of understanding. And let me show you this. I'll show it to you in two different ways. Let me go into the browser and let's go to YouTube. So I'll go to youtube.com. Okay, so I'm at youtube.com, and what you can do when you're in YouTube, there's a search thing at the top. You can type something like Sirius Astrology Software or Kepler Astrology Software, or you could type my name, David Cochran Astrology, or something like that. And just press enter, and you will see a lot of videos by me, by David Cochran, Just click on my name. It's a link. You click on my name, and that will take you to the page, to the YouTube page with all the videos. Currently, there are over 200 videos. I think 207 videos. I try to make at least one a week, so it's growing, and I take my time to prepare and organize and say something really that I think is important. So this takes time, and it's a fantastic resource, organized into different topics. So here's the first topic is about the software. So daylight savings timetables obviously is a feature of the software. I referred to this before, and there it is. Time zone and daylight saving time issues in astrology. A 11-minute, about a 12-minute video. And there's another one in here that I think is even longer. Where did it go? It's in here somewhere. Which is the next thing I'm going to show you is an easier way to find these. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, here it is. World's most accurate daylight savings timetable. So here's the other video. and this one is 33 minutes long. So that's one way to get into the videos, is just to go to YouTube, find the page, and all kinds of topics, relocation, Hellenistic, medieval, Vedic, unbelievable number of topics. The other thing you can do is if you go to astrosoftware.com, our website, and then up here at the top, click on, you don't have to click on it, but go to Astrology, go to Articles and Videos. Go to this menu item, and then click on Videos. All right, so you go to astrosoftware.com, go to Articles and Videos at the top, and click on Videos. And this is fantastic. What this is an easier way to find the video that you're looking for. Let me scroll down a little bit here. For example, information about the software. There they are. And there's the time zone and DST tables. Takes you directly to the 2 videos that I mentioned. Customizing a chart wheel. There are 5 videos related to customizing chart wheels. So this is I think an easier way to find what you're looking for. On astro theory, look at all this. A complete course, 20 lessons on astrology. Here's on zodiac signs, modern psychological and evolutionary, harmonic astrology, ancient Western, Vedic astrology. So, and it goes on and on and on. Forecasting, astrolocality. So all of these videos we've created this menu system to make it easier to find what you're looking for. A fantastic resource for learning astrology. Now, these videos are great whether you own Kepler or Sirius or not. Doesn't matter what software you own. You can learn about so many advanced, intermediate, and basic topics, different levels, astronomy for astrologers, unique, informative videos. I can pretty much guarantee you're going to love these videos. The one that you're listening to right now is just one among over 200, all dealing with different topics. Now, if you have the software, if you have Kepler or Sirius, then you can apply many of the ideas directly with your software, because I'm using Kepler and Sirius in the videos. So it helps you integrate with this network of information. So this is a surprise. What's my topic in this video? Surprises, innovations that you might not have thought of. One thing you might not have thought of is that you can enter a world of learning, of exploring, of gaining new information. And that information directly connects to the Kepler and Sirius software, because that's the software that I'm using when I'm describing what, for example, a Hellenistic Time Lord is. A lot of astrologers are curious about the Hellenistic astrology and Time Lords and so on. Well, watch my video on it, and then it'll show you, it'll tell you what it is, it'll show you how to select it, and then if you have, well, the Time Lords I think are only in Sirius. I'm not sure if they're in Kepler 8 or not. I have to, we could pull it up and check. But anyway, you can, if you have Sirius and maybe Kepler as well, then you can just go right in there and select it if you want to. And if you have Kepler and wish you had Sirius, well, then you can pay the upgrade price. You don't have to pay for it new, so you don't have to regret your decision. We often tell people to just buy Kepler if they're beginning level, or intermediate level, and then you can upgrade later. The penalty for upgrading, you only save $50 by buying Sirius right away rather than upgrading later. So it's not the end of the world if you decide you want Sirius later and you get Kepler. Another thing that can be surprising, I want to share with you, is about ease of use. A lot of times I read in social media discussions about ease of use, and people are saying this program is easy to use or that one's easy to use. I want to just tell you a few things about ease of use regarding Kepler and Sirius. The truth, the fact is, over 99% of our requests are about new features. We almost never get a request related to ease of use. People love the ease of use. So why would we change the user interface when it's not an issue? I'm not saying that no customer has an issue with it. People have issues with everything. People have issues with the color of that trees have green leaves. I mean, I have issues with the fact the sky is blue. I mean, people can have issues with all kinds of things. But overall, the great vast majority of our customers are just want new features, new innovations, new calculations, new things we can do. They're not talking about the layout of the program or how the program works or how you select things. Over 99% of requests are for new things. So it's not an issue. It's only an issue to people who don't use our software or who have an investment or bias for something else, and then they bring up this user interface issue. So we work on whatever needs to be worked on to make the software better for our customers. If there are issues with the user interface, let us know, and then we'll work on that. People don't bring it up. It's not the thing that's going on with our software. The thing that's going on is people want more and more and more features. That's what's going on. It's endless. The numbers of schools of astrology, approaches to astrology, things people are doing, and we just keep adding more and more features for exactly what people want. Another surprising thing, surprise number 5, what if you have a Mac? Or what if you have a PC and wish you had a Mac and could run programs like Kepler and Sirius? You can, and the best way to do it is to get Crossover Mac. Crossover Mac is unbelievable. Just go to Google and type in Crossover Mac, and you'll go to their website. What is it? www.codeweavers.com. Now, you would think that if you want to run a Windows program, you need the Windows operating system. Sounds reasonable and logical. I mean, duh, if you want to run Windows program, you need Windows operating system. Well, even though it's reasonable and logical, and even computer experts would say that that's how it works, you can, there are exceptions to the rule. You can actually run Kepler and Sirius on a Mac with this program called Crossover Mac, which is not Windows, and it's not even a Windows emulator. In fact, Crossover Mac is built on a technology called Wine, like the drink, W-I-N-E, and W-I-N-E means wine is not an emulator. Wine is not emulator. W-I-N-E. It's not an emulator. So it sounds like magic, but it's true. It converts these Windows API calls into the Apple API calls, and it just translates. It essentially keeps your program. Really, it's made the Windows program functionally a native Mac program. Sounds unbelievable, but it's true. And I'll be making a video about this someday, and how the people who make this software explain that it does not introduce vulnerabilities to your operating system, which is this thing that Mac users often are worried about if they put Windows on their computer, etc. It's just fantastic. The main problem with Crossover Mac is it does not work with all software, but it does work with Kepler and Sirius, and we work closely with the people who make Crossover Mac to make sure that it does. Sixth thing is continuous improvements. This might come as a surprise, but we introduce new features sometimes in the software, and we don't really make a big deal about it. We don't really announce it. We don't introduce it as a new version. If we can sneak it in, and it's not going to introduce any bugs, and it's going to be really helpful, sometimes we add little features. I'll show you an example of one I added just a few days ago. I was in here selecting art wheels. So if I right click and I go to special wheels, this tab special, and I select art wheel style, I noticed that these little, they're sometimes called thumbnails, these little previews of the wheel were so small that especially when I was using what we call the pastel collection, these optional wheels, I couldn't really tell what they look like. So I added these 2 images on the right, just so that I can see it more clearly. Oh, here, I have the pastel collection installed. So I'm looking at this little blue thing, and I'm going, what is that? Let me pull up. So look at these. I can't tell what they are. So I made a bigger preview so that you have a better idea of what it's going to look like. So if I click on one of these, say I click on this one, well, there's the actual wheel now with the actual chart put into it, and you can see that this larger preview helps see what it is. Anyway, it's just a little thing, a larger preview. It's not a big deal. It's just a little nicety, something that makes the program a little easier to use. You can see what these things look like before you select them more easily. You don't have to go clicking on them to see each one. Little things. So little things like this we're constantly doing. All right, so back to my PowerPoint. I'll just cancel out of this. Where is my PowerPoint? Here it is. Anyway, continuous improvements. We're almost fanatical about trying to make the software as well debugged as possible, be as easy to use, and constantly making improvements. Customer support. The only thing I want to say about customer support is I want to thank you. We get Christmas cards, we get emails expressing gratitude, and your gratitude is what probably more than anything keeps us going. It's more important to us, the whole team here, than you probably realize, because we're working to try to make a program that you will love and that you'll appreciate. So it's the greatest feeling in the world for us, and it just keeps us going more than anything. So, if you've been with our company, if you've worked with us, you know that this is true. How hard we work to try to solve problems for you. Well, I'm already at 50 minutes. I need to start closing up here. But so I've mentioned the art wheels, live mini reading, online chart service. The Astro Calendar is fantastic. Treasure maps are fantastic. I didn't have time to show you that. I have a lot of videos about that. You can select any asteroid in Sirius. You can't do it in Kepler. But any asteroid goes online, finds the asteroid file for you. Any asteroid, just select it. Interpretations in other languages. We're in a small world now. So you can send reports in Spanish and French. They're included. The Avalon lessons, the Astro Encyclopedia, as well as the free videos that I mentioned. The interactivity has gotten better and better and better. The way you customize wheels, the time adjust, the interactive bi, tri, and quad wheels. Just unbelievable how elegant these things have become. Remembering the emphasis on visual ways of looking at information, not just getting data and lists. Things like the timeline, the AstroSignature forecast. I showed you those, the graphic ephemeris. Reference things, I mentioned that. Degree meanings, fixed stars. Unusual and interesting options, like we have a nakshatra report, the pastel art wheel collection, interpretations on specific areas like flower essences or pets. Anyway, these are innovations, different things, out-of-the-box things, just to make you think about and be aware that there are things you might be able to do with the software that you haven't done before. The nakshatra report, for example, nakshatras are very fundamental to Vedic astrology. Vedic astrology is huge. There's so much astrology going on in India. It's Vedic astrology, and this done by an artist. These artistic renditions of the nakshatras, the visuals. It's just fantastic. So many things that you can do. Much more. These are just things I thought of off the top of my head. I'm sure there's some other big things I didn't mention, and I want to emphasize this, that what I'm referring to here in this video is innovations. Consider Apple computer, for example. The Apple computer became very popular, still is very popular. Why? Because they created an elegant computer and they innovated. They didn't just wait for people to say, oh, give me a visual interface. So what I'm sharing with you here are some innovations, not all of which are customer driven. 99% of what we do is customer driven. You ask for it, we do it. But then we also, with our experience in astrology, with our users, talking to different people, getting inspiring ideas, we come up with these innovations, like the live mini reading, for example, and all the other innovations I've shared with you. Okay, and here I talk about the research. I've talked about that. Is Donald Trump's pride and aggressiveness related to the fact he has Mars rising in Leo? Well, this is one of the innovations we're doing. This evidence-based, for people that want to be very evidence-based in their astrology, go through the database, see who has Mars rising in Leo, and see if they have similar traits as Donald Trump. Just fantastic. Final note. This video is longer than I thought. I'm at 54 minutes. It's going to be almost an hour long. Final note, when you buy software like Kepler, it's $300. Sirius is even more expensive, $550. It's a lot of money. And what happens with that money? Well, I just want to share with you something that I think is really important, is corporate greed. This has nothing to do directly with the software. You should buy the software that does the best for you so you can do what you want. I don't think we should make our purchases political statements or whatever all the time. But I just want to emphasize, and we're not the only astrology company that's like this. Many of the other astrology companies are the same way. They really are dedicated to the greater good. And that money that you spend, like in our case, some of our tech people, our software developers, they get paid more and they work few hours than the two owners, my wife and I, who work endless hours at less of a salary. And it's not because we're saints, it's because we are fortunate to be able to do what we want to do. And I know that many of you are the same way. And so we have this in common. We have a vision, a dream, we love something, we have the good fortune to be able to do it, we want to share it, we're comfortable, have a beautiful lifestyle, and we don't have to just keep being greedy, 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 greedy. And it's a big problem, at least here in America, with corporations. And I just want to share with you that we have the same philosophy as many of you do, that this is not going to, the money you spend is going to pay the workers, and the owners are not walking away with barrels of money, so to speak. You can't take it with you, as the saying goes. All right. So, and I just want to emphasize here, I'm not bragging or putting ourselves above other companies. I know many other astrological enterprises that are the same exact way. Anyway, we've almost never mentioned this. It's sort of embarrassing to bring it up, but I just wanted to share it, bring it out into the open, that this is what it's all about, is that we're all part of a network trying to make a better world, and each person contributing in special ways. And of course, last thing I want to say, some of the people who do the most important things, their names are never known. You know my name. I'm out there. I am working hard and trying to share it, but there are people working just as hard, have special gifts, and we never hear about their names. So it's all about everybody doing what they can to make a better world. Okay, thank you very much, my friends. God bless. Namaste.